Well, we tend to eat dinner very late in India, and it shows on our paunches. But I find it's sort of getting to dinner time in this part of the world. I thought I'd read a little bit about food. That's not really about food, it's really about blossoming, unlikely friendship between the narrator of this book, who's a young Indian man, and the much older Uncle Lance. And the book is called Sly Company of People Who Care, and it's set in the Caribbean, in Guyana. And the genius of the Caribbean is basically to take any word and turn it into a synonym for a genital. And with food especially, fish and pork and masala. And there used to be a very famous soca song called Wine Up On Me Curry. So I'll just start. There came a period that we devoted our Sundays to cookery. These days began with Uncle Lance appearing in a shaky white Toyota AT192. With 3 short blows, he'd announce his arrival at 5:30 in the morning. Off we'd go in the drizzling day clean. He would lean suspiciously on the steering wheel as he drove, squinting at the windshield as if alarmed to find a world beyond it. He never, ever pushed the needle beyond a hair's breadth of 30 mph, an aspect I called attention to frequently. You ain't see me drive by. I could reach Georgetown to Kwakwani in 100 minutes. You know where is Kwakwani? You can't know is where. You only been here a couple of days. Oh, my foot heavy. But you gotta think for the other fool on the road, right? That is what an upstart like you don't understand. But nobody on the road, Uncle Lance, I protested. We had a time, right? We had nice zebra crossing on the road. They would paint them things steady. Could see them stripes from a mile, shining upon the road. The stripes now vanish. The zebra dung extinct. But nobody on the road, Uncle Lance. And jackasses them just take an angle into the crossing. You're not allowed that. You gotta start one side of the crossing and walk over till you reach the other side. Now people cutting in from any part of the road, causing one bundle of confusion, and they jump in upon the zebra and them and say, look, I spun the zebra. By 6 a.m., the wharf in Meadowbank was already crowded. Riches were everywhere. Smell of river, stink of fish, blood in the morning. Alive in the drizzle, filthy-footed, we'd hustle with zeal. It was serious fare, no jokey trench fish, no hasar and huri and patwa and them kind of thing. There was shark and trout and 10-kilo julbakas and their pricey heads, whiskery catfish and high-water fish, mounds of shrimp and bangameri and pakus, the tails twitching behind stupidly flat heads like the fronts of woebegone school shoes. One watched the skinning of the paco with sorrow. It was so honest and foolish. When a cutlass was introduced into its mouth, it would bite and not let go. The skinners were vicious. They stood at wooden platforms and let rip at the creatures, splotching customers with scales and entrails. It was an unfathomable violence, such a contrast to India, where men with mustaches sat tranquil on their blades, making meditative incisions as if in penance. On the way back, we would stop at the Sunday market in La Penitence, and here, shopping, chomping on a pink guava or a cassava ball, Uncle Lance might break into a calypso, and it had to be said he did pretty well for a voice like his. He knew all the folk songs, the shantos and calypsos, the Bill Rogers and Dave Martins. At Sheriff Street, the session would begin. We might make a herb and pepper batter for the shark and lash her with tennis rolls and hot West Indian sauce. The catfish we might curry with raw mango. I might impress him with my breakthrough invention of pumpkin with karayala and butterfish in the same pot. Uncle Lance was an expert chopper, saying a Chinese gal taught him, and he could do 2 onions in the time I did one. His stance at the stove was a hand on hip, a heavy lean back, eyebrows arched, a man bemused. One day, a good 3 months before Christmas, we thought to make the Patagi Christmas dish of garlic pork. We drove out to Monterey Post on the coast looking for fresh pig. The capped ladies giggled with Caribbean punning. We ain't giving up me pork. Yana Anusha, the buy does want pork. You giving out you pork? Anusha giggled, we all giggled, and she supplied us 2 fatty pounds. At home, we washed and lowered the pig into a transparent bowl. We threw improved cloves of garlic. We de-leafed the fine leaves of thyme from its stalks and sprinkled them in with holy abandon. We halved the firebomb very peppers and threw those in with final fingerfuls of salt. We covered the pig with vinegar and fastened the cellophane over the top. It was to be left like this for 3 weeks. A pig, she would breathe in every last rumor of flavor. The bowl we placed in a doily, such a furnished house. No matter what, I could not stop staring at it. Lancelot Banarsi too eyed it heavily because every other sentence contained the words, garlic pork by garlic pork. After 2 hours, we decided to fry 1 piece, just to see. An hour later, a quarter of the bowl was done. And 3 weeks on, 2 pieces remained. Damn fine pieces though. And in this manner, in between rambles, assignments, and long days in the country, I became Sunday friends with Uncle Lance. And through him I met many people in this easy, informal world. From the vantage of the Sheriff Street balcony, standing red rum on ice, we watched people. Uncle Lance would divide passing citizens into 2 categories. The first was Western Union people. Them does live upon remittance like leech. You hear that biggest industry in Guyana, sugar? I say no, it's Western Union. And the second time was Visa Q people. Them just come from cutting around at the embassy. Are they going for cut around? Isn't their eyes by? Focus upon the eyes. He held each type in equal contempt. He could never be a Western Union man, a blasted parasite. As for the second, he thought of himself as a modern man. And the Caribbean man is a modern man, right? A mix of culture. And so this was the reason that he'd never leave here, never cut around at the embassy. He did not want to leave modernness to go to backwardness. Often he would point out someone and start a story about them. You see the man there? He had the longest dong in Guyana. How you can be sure, Uncle Lance? Every single lady at the night refused the man. The moment the man pulled down his pants, they frightened. Another time, he identified a chicken fucker. A chicken fucker, I asked. Once he regaled me with stories of a man who had more girl problems than anyone. He lived in the same kitty house that I'd lived in. He liked country gals because he could feel a boss man around them. One such girl he reduced to tears by asking for a blowjob. Is what job me got for do now? Is wash job, me done finish. Cook job, me done finish. Clean job, me done finish. Why is this blowjob now? Another girlfriend would bite him and beat him and threaten to take her own life, and often Uncle Lance was awoken at nights to shouts of, "Catch she, Lancey, catch she," as the girl took position at the window. It was possible, of course, that Uncle Lance was spinning yarns, but when we saw Kevin pass again an hour later, he confirmed the stories. And he supplied one from the previous evening, too. A girlfriend had found a used condom in his bed. Hear what I tell she. I tell she I was trying it on. Oh, boy. And like Kevin, people frequently came upstairs for a bounce, sometimes with friends and cousins, taking a call from somebody, inviting them over too. As a result, our lives grew manifold, and it triggered in me at certain moments a strange but satisfying sensation that I was now living here. As Guyanese of all ages and genders cooked and enjoyed it, the open kitchen raged with activity. A number of pots were sparked at once, here a corn soup with dumpling, there a fish stew with okra, and the range had an oven, and a trout might bake in it, heaped with eshallot and thyme and fresh jute, the starburst of 5-finger, the sour of passion fruit. A whole fowl might go in massaged with jerk seasoning and washed down with pristine coconut milk. Sticks of cassava might be roasted on the flame and smothered with butter, and people, foremost among them Lancelot Banarsi, fighting over the bun, the charred bits. The wind blew through all the half-open doors, but our flames never outed. Afternoons ran on to evenings and nights, cackling and narrating, arriving and departing. Old stalwarts and sporty lads and vibrant university gals and all in between, finishing eventually in a great drunken fornicating wind-down somewhere. Or else, at Big Market, Big Mama's. She was a colossal loving lady, Big Market, Big Mama, shining black in a loose t-shirt, a head wrap, and a long flowing skirt, a face that wanted to feed the world and make it a happier place. She was Mama Creole. All the movements of the New World met in her. Chow mein from the Chinese, met MG from the Africans, pepper pot from the Amerindians, roti and curry from the Indians, baked chicken from the Europeans, the menu dripping off her tongue like honey when you ask, "What you got for me tonight, Big Mama?" Sometimes there were trips to somebody's cousin's friend's plot of land by the Blackwater creeks off the highway. Trips that killed me with nostalgia even while I lived them. Driving back a pickup, Silvery Lane pelting barebacks, leaves dancing on the mud trail, branches snapping back onto faces, puddles like lakes forded in the sinking vehicle, bush cook and red rum and drenched cricket, jamun splattered purple upon the wet soil. the remarkable freedom of a forgotten and irrelevant place on earth. But Uncle Lance himself retreated, said he'd been up those highways too many times. Thank you.